When are you writing any Welsh?
Something that I have kind of half thought about, because Helen is the only one left, and when I've done her, I really don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't agree with sequels. I mean, I know we've revisited some of the other sisters, you know, in the subsequent books, but I just think sequels are a bit of a cheat for the reader. So maybe I will have to do Mammy Walsh, you know, because I do feel there's a lot going on there, you know, plenty, that I think that she might have suppressed a lot of stuff over the years, and that there's a wild woman waiting to get out, you know. Actually, because my own mother is kind of, okay, no, she's not a bit like Mammy Walsh, okay, now once we've got that clear, but my own mother is hysterical, because, I mean, she is this very kind of a decent, rigid, kind of Catholic woman who's very respectable, and you know, you don't kind of stick your head above the parapet, but she's so corruptible, you know. Because a while ago, they were talking about going to visit my sister in New York. Actually, this is a few years ago, and my dad didn't want to go because his hips are bad. He didn't think he could handle a flight, you know. And I said, well, look, why don't you go on Concorde? This was before Concorde stopped. And she said, oh, mother of divine God, don't be so ridiculous. The likes of me going on Concorde, you know. And I thought, well, I'm so fine, you know. Forget it, don't worry. And then she was talking about, I'd love to go to the Norwegian fjords, you know. A while later she was saying, and I said, well, look, I will pay for you to go to a cruise to the Norwegian fjords. And she goes, but you're paying for me to go to New York on Concorde. And I couldn't tell you. I was like, what? I have. And, you know, she's so kind of, she could be so wild if she let herself, you know. And my younger sister's getting married, and we were in town looking for wedding dresses for the younger sister, but me and the other sister are going to be bridesmaids. I mean, at my age. And I was trying to see a kind of a way around the awful misery of the bridesmaid's dress. And so I came up with this fantastic idea, you know, that the bridesmaids would wear a Missoni coat. And this is just an excuse so that I can buy a Missoni coat, you know, and have my dad pay for it, you know, because it's wedding expenses. So we went into Brown Thomas's, which is the expensive shop in Dublin, which my mother has a boycott on, you know, because it's ridiculous. I mean, you just pay for the bag, you know, the prices are just super inflated, and I would do everything to go, you know. So anyway, we made her go in, because we were looking for the wedding dresses for Rita Ann, and I thought, we'll just take a little detour via the Missoni bit. So, and I thought she'd hate the Missoni stuff on principle, you know, and so she fell in love with them. She was like, oh my God! And like she was pulling out all the different styles and obviously thinking about it for herself, you know, and she really started kind of hyperventilating, and so we calmed her down and we walked away, and we were walking back to the shop, but there was a freestanding mannequin like miles away from the Missoni bit wearing a Missoni dress, and she saw it and she just shrieked, there's another one! And so really, if my mammy is that corrupt, but I think Mammy Walsh certainly, you know, we can work with it, you know. So I'll try my best. Thank you very much. Gobshite is a very commonly used Irish word, and Scottish also, I believe. It's an excellent word, isn't it? It just means take, eat it. You know, loser. Give me an Australian version. Dickhead. No, I understand bogan to mean something slightly different. Would bogan not be more like knacker? Would it not be like chav? Yeah. No, gobshite is just a general food, you know? It's just a gobshite, you know? Now, Jolly Boys is entirely different. Jolly Boys actually is something that, I don't know, maybe it was done by accident. We were watching this program, I don't know if you got it here, it's not a year in Provence. It was this fantastic program about these two gobshites, English gobshites, who went to somewhere in France to open an Indian restaurant. Have you seen it? Isn't it fabulous? Poor Nigel, isn't that his name? Nigel, yes. Well, do you remember when they got the Indian bloke, this fabulous little Indian bloke who could ride the elephant? Do you remember him? Yes, well he was adorable, wasn't he? I can't remember his name now. Rajiv or something like that. Reza! Who said that? But thank you so much. It would drive me mad. Well, they had to go into Marseille to see if they could get an actual Indian chef. And they found one.
And he was immensely charmed by Reza and his actions, and he kept saying, he is a very jolly boy. He is such a jolly boy. He is a very, very, very jolly boy. And I was wondering, was he kind of taking the piss slightly? Was he going, I know he's gay, but I'm not going to say it. So I thought, actually when you think about it, Jolly Boy is just another version of gay. So Jolly Boy actually originated in that program. So that's their word really, but they probably don't know. I should probably have credited them in the acknowledgements. Thank you. That's a lovely question. I enjoyed talking about that show. I loved it. Apparently there was a third series where they opened a hotel. I didn't see it much of anybody. It was next to an abattoir. I mean, look, he's mad. I mean, I think they must be making it up in the third series. Anyway, sorry. Sorry, that really made me laugh.
I always like it when books have like another book after it, like the story continues and you find out more about the character. And I was wondering, if you had to write a second book for any of the books that you already have, what would you write? And
if I had to write a sequel, do you mean?
Yeah, yes.
See, I don't believe in sequels. I'm awfully sorry. I think they're kind of lazy and taking advantage of the reader. I think I put my characters through so much, and by the end of the story, they're in a good place. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like if there was, thank you. So I feel if I kind of did the whole sequel thing, it'd be a big con to be like saying, actually, do you remember when you thought they were happy there at the end? But they weren't at all. He stood her up at the altar. It was a disaster. She had to pay for the reception anyway. She lost her job because she'd given it up because she thought they were going to go away travelling. And I don't believe in sequels. And I mean, it's grand if other authors feel that that's the right thing for them. I suppose the way I've kind of got around it is by doing the Walsh family, in that each of the books I hope are standalone books, but I've kind of been cheeky a little bit in this book and let everybody know that the other girls are all okay.
I believe you've allowed your husband to live out one of his fantasies and you bought him a very fast car.
Oh Jesus, the Maserati, I'll never live this down. You see, he's a very, very nice man. I have to talk to him now. Because you know the way you hear people say, oh, we've such a happy marriage, Lila. And then 2 weeks later, the husband is caught, getting a hand job down some alley from some transaction, and it's all over the newspapers, and everyone's going, smug girl, yeah. Because it's a terrible crime to be smug. Anyway, having said that, with that caveat, he is a very, very nice man, and he doesn't ask for much. And it wasn't just for him, you see. My parents were complaining because they kind of refuse to drive anywhere anymore. They want to be driven, and they're kind of elderly. And my car is a Beetle, so it has no back seats, you see. And my mother complains bitterly about getting in, having to kind of push the front seat forward and clamber in with her bad knees, and then Dad with his hip, and both of them have backs and everything. So they wanted me to get a car with 4 doors. So it kind of, they came together well. Him and his fantasy car, you see, it's a quattroporte, which I believe means 4 doors in Italian. So my mother was tremendously pleased, not just himself. But there are only 6 Maseratis in the Irish Republic, and Bono has one of them. So we're driving around and thinking we're great, and people go, oh, it's Bono! And then we get a bit closer and they go, who the fuck are they? Really, but my mother is very taken with it. You see, it's kind of a case of life imitating art, because before the Maserati ever came, Mammy Walsh in this book has developed a kind of a longing and a kind of a fascination for fast cars. But Marian Keyes got a lift in the Maserati when we were going into town to look for Rita Ann's wedding dress. And because she's the Irish Mammy only, she's the size of that jug there, but because she's the Irish matriarch, she has to go in the front seat. So she got in the front seat and she saw the satellite navigation. Now, she had never seen anything so amazing in her life. And it spoke, and it said her road, and told Tony himself how to get from her road to our road, to turn left up Ashton. And first of all, she said it was magic. Then she got a little bit worried about it and thought it might be witchcraft, and that she shouldn't have nothing to do with it. Then, in some bizarre twist, she decided that it was proof. It was so amazing, it was proof of the existence of God. Something so amazing, but only, it was so miraculous, So, yes, but you see, because I still consider myself to be a socialists, and now I'm a Maserati socialist, you know. I'm very uncomfortable about it, you know. But everybody else seems delighted for us. So maybe I should start thinking that way, you know. Hello, yes.
I've read the book and I don't want to give too much away.
Okay. Thank you.
It's very emotional, this one. What did you draw on from the personal experience for it?
The thing is, as I was saying to the lady behind, I've been really, really lucky in that, like, I've had an absolutely disastrous life. I mean, I had the alcoholism, and then I also had the depression. I had a shitey job, and I had no money. I had frizzy hair, I had skin that wouldn't tan. I had train wreck relationships with men. So I had, you know, it was, when I came to be a writer, it was tremendously handy. It all came in so useful, you know. But after about the first 3 books, I kind of used up all my you know, life. So I've had to do research for each subsequent book, which I absolutely hate doing because I'm tremendously lazy. And also, I'm a really bad researcher, you know, because if I have to interview people, like when I had to interview the transvestites, like I was dying to know, like, you know, what kind of knickers do you wear, and do you have a special pouch to put your bits away in and stuff like that. But I was too mortified to ask, you know, and that's the way I am. Like when I do research, I always, you know, I'm thanking and saying, thank you, that's so nice of you, you're so generous, I'll put you in the acknowledgement, and I'm coming away and thinking, you fool, you know, you didn't ask the proper questions at all. So with this book, it's all research. I mean, I did it mostly by reading. Like I got loads of books from the internet, an awful lot of American ones which are kind of specific to the issue that we're not discussing in the book. So it was mostly from that. And you know, I put myself in the position of Anne, and I was thinking, well, how would I feel? You know, and I suppose it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't just the thing of missing somebody. It's the horror is far worse, I think. So it was mostly by reading, because I didn't want to interview people about it because I just couldn't bear to go through their pain, you know. So I hope that answers it. Thank you very much, and thank you for being so discreet about that. I don't. I mean, there's so many beautiful books in the world, it would be impossible to pick one person. But I am actually going through an Alexander McCall Smith period. Do you love him? Yes. Isn't he great? I have to tell you though, I had such bias against him. When I saw him at an event, an authoring event, you know, and he'd won some prize. And I suppose he'd be quite elderly, you know. And no, I don't mean that at all. I mean, but he gave a speech that I just, anyway, this is just me being biased. And he was like some alpha colonel who's, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I've written a little book about my travels. He was kind of like that, you know, and I was thinking, God almighty, listen to your man. And I thought, I don't want to read his books. And then I read the #1 Ladies Detective Yogi, and I thought it was fabulous. And then I read the next one, something about a giraffe, Tears of a Giraffe. But the best one of all was 44 Scotland Street. Have you read it? It's magnificent. Apparently there's another one coming, if it's not out already. So it's out, is it? I might get it in the airport tonight. So yeah, and now I'm kind of in love with them. Do you know, I developed a big crush on them, and I wished that I'd read his books before I made my completely biased judgment on him. And I just think he's adorable, and they're so kind of funny and smart and uplifting and enjoyable. So he's my current favourite, but it does change, you know, because there are too many great authors, I think, to have just one. Thank you very much for 2 lovely questions. Is there anyone over here in this little isthmus here? No, you're all okay. Okay, lovely person here. Go on, sir. But I'll be in the air for most of it. I'm flying out tonight at 5 to 2, and I get home to Dublin at about 8 in the evening, so I'll be there for the last 4 hours. And to be honest with you, I'm really glad to miss it. It's a bit too much for me in the old age, you know. I haven't, you know, although the parade, I believe, in Dublin, like when I was small, the parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade, was so crap. you know. And you'd be standing in the freezing cold in your good coat with a big yoke of shamrock hanging out of you, and the army pipe band would be marching past you. You'd be standing there perished, you know, thinking, is this it, you know? And then lads go past with a hurley over their shoulder, and then like an ordinary pickup truck would go past, like with a sign saying "Buy our bread" or something really unimaginative. But it's all different now. Like people come from the Caribbean, like, you know, like fabulous Brazilian headdresses and dancing girls and everything. Yeah, but I miss it all. Yeah. My bed. The place where my bed is. Dublin. City. You see, I like Dublin. But I like it. Yes. Himself is in the room. But he's shy. Don't look, don't pay any attention. Just look over here a bit. And then in a while we'll all look again. He's shy, he's English. Yes. Oh no, I couldn't go without himself. No, there'd be no point. You know, you have to have someone to have a laugh with, you know? And to buy shoes and to iron me clothes. Seriously, you think I'm joking. The first trip that I made to Australia was 9 years ago, and I had the great foresight to iron and melt a skirt. And after that, he took over the ironing because I was so hopeless. You know, so I'd recommend it. You can indeed. I think everybody should have it himself. You know, he's godsend.
She's wisely rewarded with Maserati.
That's it. That's why you got the Maserati for doing the ironing. Exactly. Thank you.
You talked about Britain and being involved in supporting charity groups in Britain. Are you not one of the Irish that don't like British?
I am one of the Irish that don't like the British. Most of my charities are Irish though. The Women's Aid one is British, but they have an Irish arm, if you will. And the reason that I supported the British one is because I write a monthly column for Marie Claire, which is published in Britain. And rather than just support the Irish arm, which, you know, has limited resources, I supported the British one because by writing the article, it brought, you know, like there's 50 million people in Britain, and I don't know what the readership of Marie Claire is, but it's high. So it had more impact to support that one. But To Russia with Love is Irish, Concern is Irish, and it's the Irish part of Amnesty International that I'm concerned with. And I'm only joking about not liking the Brits, really. I mean, you know, they only oppressed us for 800 years. Do you know what I mean? I have one to hold a grudge. Actually, I married one of them. You know, how more forgiving than that? Anyway, are you British by any chance?
My name's O'Neill.
Oh, listen. Listen. Sure, that's grand. The Queen is here, you know. It's really funny. I saw her when we were in Sydney. She was outside the Opera House, and we were just, you know, in the hotel room between interviews. And I looked out, and there's millions of people at the Opera House. What's going on?
Really, what your favourite biscuit was? Oh God, this is such a tragic story. I mean, this is really, really sad. Do you know the story about this? I mean, okay. I mean, I lived for sugar. Basically, it was my life, you know. And biscuits, I mean, God almighty, yeah, biscuits. You know, a chocolate ginger nut now would be absolute. Oh, no, I have the best biscuit in the whole world, and you can't get them here, I don't think. They are called Kimberleys. Does anybody know what they are? Yeah. There might be some Irish people here who know. Put your hands up, please, if you know what a Kimberley. Good woman. All right, they're fabulous. Right, they're a layer of marshmallow, and then they're two kind of soft, gingery, roundy bits on either side, making a sandwich, if you will. And then, you see, you have your ordinary Kimberleys, but then you have your chocolate Kimberleys that you get at Christmas, right? And so obviously the chocolate ones are coated in chocolate, but not only that, they come in their individual wrapping, and they come in a big tin, you know, a big tin full of chocolate Kimberleys. And, you know, I could eat an entire tin, you know, if I could get them off Katrina. And you know, and it was just wonderful. We used to have chocolate Kimberley eating raisins, and it was just marvellous, you know. And of all sweets, of all biscuits, I suppose, they would be my very, very number one super duper favourite, you know. And it's not just the fact that they're rare, you know, because you know the way when things are rare, like truffles and stuff, people pretend that they really love them, or caviar, you know. But no, the chocolate Kimberleys, if they were available everywhere year round, in every country in the world, they would have still been my favourite. But anyway, a year ago, I had to give up the sugar. It's been a nightmare, because I kept getting viruses and ear infections, and then more viruses, and then being sick for ages and ages and not getting well. And I was going to all these people like craniosacral Pajigi people and naturopaths and acupuncturists and everybody. And I was, you know, getting needles stuck in me, and then I was lying on a bed and someone was going, you will just get the spirit now, to take out the virus, And I'm paying like 75 smackers a go, you know. I'm just lying on somebody's couch in her converted garage, you know. And anyway, the acupuncturist says to me, it's all very well, she says, you know, sticking these needles and going to these faith healer people and everything. But you eat an awful lot of rubbish, she said. I was very offended. Imagine calling chocolate Kimberleys rubbish. Do you know what I mean? They are the creme de la creme of confectionery. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, but like, look at you, you live on sugar. And like, I did. Do you know? And I thought, why wouldn't you? You know, I mean, that's what you do, isn't it? And like, if it wasn't the chocolate Kimberleys, I mean, I've very, very fond of ice cream. The 7 deadly sins, magnums, I got all 7. I took it as a challenge, you know? And I mean, they were rare, again, they were rare, like you wouldn't get the 7 distributed in every area, and they were kind of doing slow releases and embargoes on Temptation and everything. But I got them all, you know? And anyway, and Percy pigs, again, you probably won't know what Percy pigs are in this part of the world. No, okay. They're lovely, they're pink. They're of a pig's face, and they're pink, and they're foamy, they're fabulous. But my friend Jenny, who's Australian, who lives in London, she talks about something called cherry ripe. She's mad about that. And I'm very partial to your own violet crumble. Very, very nice also. But anyway, so I was so sick and I was so miserable, and I kept having to miss things, and I kept being sick, you know, and in bed and sweating and the high temperature the whole year, and more antibiotics. And anyway, so she said, try eating healthily. And I was like, but I was so sick, I thought I'd give it a go. So on the 4th of January last year, I went cold turkey. All sugar gone, everything. And that meant that I had to start cooking, because everything, all the dinners I had were like processed ones. Do you know, like, you don't have Marks and Spencer's here, you're probably as well off, you know, because like, my idea of a home cooked meal was you'd take the cardboard yogi off, you'd go like that with the fork in the serving top, and you'd put it in the microwave. So anyway, I gave up the sugar and I started cooking, and now there's no chocolate Kimberleys in my life. And it's like when you break up with the boyfriend, do you know? And when I see somebody else eating, well, I don't see people eating chocolate Kimberleys because they're rare. But if I see somebody else eating, we say Maltesers, you know, we're mentioned earlier. If I see somebody else eating Maltesers, it's like when you see your ex-boyfriend with his new girlfriend. It's like, oh, the pain, oh God, I wish it was me. You know? So biscuits are no more. Me and biscuits are finito. And what can I say? What are your favourite biscuits?
I'm a Tim Tam girl.
Oh, Tim Tams, listen, they are fabulous. And the whole thing was explained to me, how you put them in the coffee. Yes, I know how to do it, yes, I know it entirely. Yes, and you can't get them in London, or you can't get them in Dublin at all, Joe. But the last time I was here, I kept getting presents of Tim Tams, because I mentioned them in the other side of the story. They had a packet of Tim Tams air lifted in, especially for the author. Yes, Tim Tams are indeed wonderful. It's the unexpectedness. It's the way the biscuit and the chocolate, and the ravagenness. The ravagenness is wonderful, and the hollowness, of course, you know. I mean, you think, but it's hollow, there's nothing there, but of course, it's the space that's important. Yes, Tim Tams, yes, I salute your Tim Tam, absolutely. I think Tim Tams and chocolate Kimberleys could survive, you know, they'd give us all a run for our money if they were putting a head-to-head. So yes, let's hear it for Tim Tams. Thank you very much. That's a beautiful question. I enjoy talking about that immensely.